this week's installment. When he's not in school with some rocks, this actor is a real shallow hell who gives pandas black eyes with his kung fu before he brings the tropic thunder and gives you goosebumps with his tenacious D. Will he be Nacho Libre or Nacho Cup of Tea? Because it's Jack Black on tonight's Hollywood Swingers.
That professional introduction means it's time for our favourite segment of the show. The segment of the show that's scripted, so we shouldn't get too derailed. It's Hollywood Swingers, where we celebrate those Hollywood movie stars who've made a swing into music. This week it is acting legend, funny man, high kicker, peaches. It's Jack Black. Tell me about him, Paul.
Thomas Jacob Black. He was born 28th of August 1969. TJP. It was a Thursday. In Santa Monica, California, to father Thomas Black and mother Judith Love Cohen. Mm-hmm. Both.
His mum is one of the most impressive people in the world.
We're getting on to it.
Yes.
They were both satellite engineers, right? But I don't mean that they worked for Sky. Other tele providers are available. In fact, Black's mother worked for NASA.
Yes,
she worked on the Hubble Space Telescope, and she was part of the team that invented the guidance system for the Apollo lunar module. Specifically, her work being part of what rescued the Apollo 13 astronauts.
Yeah, I know all about this. And she also did it whilst, having just gave birth.
Well, basically, she was the story that basically was proven to be true was that she was writing up a problem and solving this, really complex problem. And when she mailed it into NASA, she just went, right, here's this problem. By the way, I've also just had my son.
Yeah.
She solved this big equation whilst in labour.
And that's how cool she is.
And his half-brother, Neil Siegel, also worked as an engineer. And he essentially invented GPS-enabled mobile devices and the first wireless internet, as well as being a renowned concert musician. And yet Jack Black has made more money playing a farting panda.
But also,
the world is weird.
His mum wasn't just doing equations; she was an actual hands-on electrical engineer.
Oh no, they were geniuses.
I've got a picture of her saved on my thing because she's so cool.
Yeah,
and she's a literal.
And she looks cool.
She looks cool. She also but that's
she looks
not
like
the only
Audrey
thing.
Hepburn, but working on a satellite.
But that's not the only thing she did. So when she would get bored and she would flip-flop between stuff, so then she started writing manuals to help girls learn how to do stuff. So it's like a girl's guide to being an animator, a girl's guide to being a voiceover artist, a girl's guide to being an engineer. And she would write these books that she'd get experts to help her so that women could have a guide to getting into more male-dominated industries. How cool is she?
And Jack Black.
Jack Black.
Plays farting pandas. Anyway, Black's parents divorced when he was 10 years old, and by the time he was 14, he'd ended up in with a bad crowd. He was struggling with cocaine abuse, and he even had someone that wanted to kill him in school.
School that he went to with Maya Rodolphe.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I think he ended up going to that one because he eventually went to a school for troubled youth in Los Angeles that kind of helped him turn things around.
Right.
He got an early acting gig in 1982 when he starred in an advert for the video game Pitfall. Yeah. You can actually see it online if you search for it. And he decided to pursue that as a career, though he admits he only went to college at UCLA so as not to disappoint his dad. I mean, can you imagine it? You've got all these people who are basically lauded satellite engineers, geniuses.
Your ma's literally giving birth while she's saving astronauts.
You have to at least try. And he did, but he dropped out during his second year because he realised he couldn't make any contacts there that would help him with his acting dream. So in 1987, Black joined what was called the Actors Gang. It was a theatre troupe that was founded by former UCLA students, including Tim Robbins.
We're the Actors Gang. Come join us, Jack. We're going to go running around. Don't come near us. We're the Actors Gang.
But with pretend knives, and they always lost. With Black's adult acting career, he started with a film debut and a small role in Robbins' 1992 film Bob Roberts.
Right.
The next few years saw Black make small appearances in the likes of the Sly Stallone film Demolition Man.
Yep.
He was the baddie in the Never-Ending Story 3.
He was.
He was in a deleted scene in Kevin Costner's Waterworld. And he also made various appearances in TV shows like Northern Exposure and The X-Files.
Northern Exposure, I literally just started watching it again. It is so good.
Fantastic.
Right.
During this time, Black teamed up with fellow Actors Gang member Kyle Gass, whom originally they said they had animosity when he came in. The two of them were like, no, I'm the the big musical guy, what you doing?
Yeah.
Beat it. But they formed a friendship during a trip to the Edinburgh Fringe in 1989, which included climbing Arthur's Seat.
Yes.
They became friendly, and then Black learned to play guitar at the age of 23 with the help of Gas, who would provide lessons in return for food. Basically, they were like, we'd go out, we'd buy cheap tacos. The cheapest thing we could get, we were jobbing actors, but he taught me how to play guitar.
So when was this?
I would say they met, or they kind of met in 1989, Pally, and then sort of early 90s. So you're talking about 93, 94.
This is Tenacious D.
Yeah. Well, they eventually started a band which was initially called the Axe Lords, featuring Gorgonzon's Mischief. But then they eventually settled on Tenacious D.
Yeah.
And they would travel around LA. They would play small gigs, things like the Viper Room and stuff like that. But on the acting front, Black had smaller roles in the likes of The Cable Guy. He was, see, for a long time, Jack Black was like, oh, that's that guy. Who was just
that's
like,
that guy.
He was just like a small role of the pal.
But a reliable face to be the kind of wacky, weird guy. Yeah.
Mars Attacks. He was in The Jackal with Bruce Willis, if you remember that terrible remake of The Day of the Jackal.
No.
He gets his arm blown off. It's very graphic.
My first recollection of Jack Black is in High Fidelity.
Right, well, we'll get to that, because that kind of breaks him. But right now, it looked like his first big break was going to be with 3 episodes of a Tenacious D television show. It was broadcast on HBO. It was produced by David Cross and Bob Odenkirk from Mr. Show.
Yeah.
You might know, Bob Odenkirk now from Better Call Saul, most famously now.
And you might know David Cross from Arrested Development.
But that show was kind of like Flight of the Conchords, but years earlier.
It's so I'm going to say now, growing up in stand-up comedy, it is so complicated, the war between Corky and the Juice Pigs, which was Phil Nichols' musical group, and Jack Black's Tenacious D, or the Axemen, blah, 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 which then led to Flight of the Conchords, who also had their own rival, which was Mrs. Peacock's.
There you go.
There's always like 2 at a time.
2 at a time.
And my favourite one is Dead Cat Bounce, who really thought they were something.
That show, though, didn't really last long, 3 episodes, but around the same time, Ben Stiller and Dan Harmon tried to produce a comedy sci-fi show with Jack Black. It was called Heat Vision and Jack.
Dan Harmon as in Community Dan Harmon?
Yeah.
As in Rick and Morty Dan Harmon?
Yeah. They made a pilot for this. You can watch it online if you go and look for it. It's called Heat Vision and Jack, where Jack Black plays an astronaut who got super intelligence powers from solar radiation.
Okay.
He's like, I know everything.
Okay.
And he also happens to have a talking motorbike called Heat Vision, voiced by Owen Wilson.
Hate it.
But it's played for, it's a parody of all these 80s shows. But it didn't make it past the pilot stage. 2000, though, as you were saying, Black finally made his big breakthrough. He was playing record store employee Barry in the critically acclaimed High Fidelity.
He stole that show.
Yeah, I mean, that made him. He even admits that himself. He went, that's the one that's got me up to the higher echelon.
Do not remember, and I've seen that film maybe 3 times. I don't remember what John Cusack's whole deal is. I don't even know what his problem was.
You don't care?
I don't care. All I want to see is Jack Black and that bald guy fighting.
Yeah.
At calling each other Moby and then singing at the end. That's all I want.
The next year saw Black star in the lead of Shallow Hal alongside Gwyneth Paltrow.
Film.
You couldn't make that film nowadays.
Never mind, you couldn't make that film.
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't. It was such a weird film. It was so strange. It was the bit where he goes to the children's hospital and all the injured children look pretty is possibly the most offensive thing about that film. I don't care about the fat girl looking thin thing. That's the bit that I'm like, that's bad.
Thing is, it was a box office success at the time, though. The next year he did Orange County.
Loved that film.
Colin Hanks?
That was Colin Hanks' Launchpad. That was the film that everyone went, oh my goodness, that's Tom Hanks' son. That's Tom Hanks' son. I remember it really well. I had it on DVD.
That was a small box office hit as well.
Yep.
But in 2003 is when he made the comedy classic School of Rock. Yes. That cemented Jack Black as one of the biggest comedy stars of the early noughties. The actor, though, obviously didn't want to be typecast. He took a big role in the 2005 Peter Jackson remake of King Kong. That seemed to do really well at the time. But it's one of those films you don't ever hear about anymore.
Yeah, I forgot he was in that.
Yeah.
I had an illicit affair with one of the people who was a body double in King Kong.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whose body double?
Adrian Brody's.
Ooh.
I know.
Same nose?
Same face.
Right, there we go. Was it Adrian Brody?
No.
No.
That would have been cool. This is just like, oh, this is embarrassing. This is a guy who introduces himself as, "Hi, I'm Adrian Brody's body double." That was
Very good.
no, not.
2006 though, he kind of went back to the comedy. In the same year, he starred in Nacho Libre.
Yes.
He starred in the Tenacious D movie, The Pick of Destiny.
Yes.
And he played an unlikely romantic lead in the rom-com The Holiday opposite
Epic.
Kate Winslet.
It was a good one.
Winslet.
Kate Winslet's fine. It was an epic. Do you know what? That rom-com deserves its flowers.
I've never seen it.
It's a lot more fun. As a younger person, I thought it was boring and dull. As an adult, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so romantic and I love it. I was too young for it. Now I think it's ace. Well done.
2008, he had an even more successful year. He not only starred in Be Kind Rewind with Mos Def,
Bad film.
but he was also in the comedy 1-2 of Tropic Thunder,
Yes.
and then he voiced the lead character of Po in Kung Fu Panda. That is a juggernaut of its own. That goes and makes billions of dollars.
But then I've never met anybody who's like Kung Fu Panda's my favourite film.
But
But
people
it
were
is.
watching them.
No, I get
Yeah.
you. I've just never. It's not like Marvel where people are like mad for it. They
But
just
then
exist and do well.
It's not for us. I think since then, basically, Jack Black has either been pigeonholed or he is seemingly content to be the hero in some of the favourite kids' movies of the last decade or so.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of Kung Fu Panda films, loads of different spin-off things. 2 films based on the Goosebumps book series.
Yep.
He did The House with a Clock in its Walls. He did 2 super successful kind of sequels in the Jumanji franchise.
Jumanji.
He starred as the evil Bowser in the billion-dollar making the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Peaches.
And he's seemingly following his love of computer games even more because he does all that stuff on YouTube with his kids.
Yeah.
But he's going to star in upcoming adaptations this year of Borderlands, where he plays the robot.
Mm-hmm.
And he's seemingly playing the main character, Steve, in a Minecraft movie. How that's going to work, I have no idea.
I think sometimes it's the more abstract ones that do better rather than the ones that have a story. Because you know what was epic? Battleship, the film.
Oh, that was terrible.
It was so good.
No, you are. No,
I
you
loved
are.
it.
You're mad.
The one with Rihanna.
Yeah, it's
I
awful.
loved it. I thought it was.
Taylor Kish.
It was so good.
It's terrible.
The whole time I was like, isn't it mad that this is based off a Battleship?
It's so bad. This is awful.
I think it's great.
They've knocked out all of our communications. We can use old school radar to find them using this grid pattern.
Bloop, bloop. It was so silly.
B4. The aliens are on B4. Like, shut up.
I loved it. I thought it was so funny.
But when he's not making the funny YouTube videos with these kids and seemingly having a great time, he's also continuing to tour with his pal in rock, Kyle Gass, with Tenacious D. And in fact, they'll be playing the Hydro in Glasgow, just across the road from us, this coming May.
Very cool.
And it's with Tenacious D that we'll go to for tonight's song. I know you had other ones that you wanted us to play, but it
greatest song
won't
in
be
the
one
world.
of their older songs.
Won't be one of the good ones.
A lot of them aren't really that fit for us to play on
No.
air. But instead, we'll go for something very recent, because we're very topical here on Hollywood Swingers when we want to be, with a just-released cover of a Britney Spears classic that's been done for the soundtrack of Kung Fu Panda 4, which is currently playing in a picture hall near you. No?
I'm sorry, was my face doing something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're just not interested in any of this.
Pandas, no, I think they're like really snide.
So rubbish.
They're just because they look cool, everybody's like, oh, we have to give money for pandas. And I'm like,
We have to try too hard to help them along. That's the thing. It's
yeah, like in the most literal sense, I don't think it should be up to a zookeeper to touch a panda's privates to try and get it going so that it'll have a baby. Maybe it just doesn't want to.
That's it.
Maybe leave it alone.
Mm-hmm. Let nature take its course there.
Tenacious D, well, baby, one more time.
Yeah. I get dark.
It's so dark.
Oh, baby, baby, how was I supposed to know that something wasn't right? Oh, baby, baby, I shouldn't have let you go. And now you're out of sight. pretty baby, I shouldn't have let you go. And I must confess that my loneliness is killing me now. Don't you know I still believe that you will be here and give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. My loneliness is killing me. I must confess, I still believe. When I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time.
That was this week's Hollywood Swinger, Jack Black. Here in the Ashley Storrie Show, we rank our Hollywood Swingers on a scale of 1 to 100 Kenny Rogers roasters, Kenny Roger being the original and the best Hollywood Swinger. Paul, I'm going to come to you first. What is your score for Monsignor Jack Black?
I'm quickly going to give Jack Black a solid 75 for that. There's nothing to dislike about Jack Black, really. He's harmless, doesn't cause any issues. Kids like his films. What can I say?
Non-problematic short king. Also, sings it better than Britney Spears.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Britney Spears, but she ain't that good a vocalist. I enjoyed that a lot more. I want to give him 90.
Ooh.
That is 90 Kenny Rogers roasters for Jack Black. Get in touch via text 80295. How many Kenny Rogers roasters do you give our friend Jack? So sorry, Ashley, but I must disagree with you upon Britney Spears' merits as a vocalist. It's a bloke thing. Her throatiness is beguiling. Archie, that's the worst sentence I've ever read.